Right, guys, we are about to start our farmer panel discussion all about farm efficiency. So if you can come on in, take your seat. Awesome. Thanks again to Open Country for sponsoring our afternoon tea as well. And I was just instructed for this part to get you all sitting on your seats, and I haven't done a very poor job, and I think I lost a few friends by being so bossy, but it's kind of working. You're all slowly coming. Robin's just briefing the farmers around staying on topic, so... Cool, fantastic. Right, we will crack into it, crew. So we are about to embark on our farmer discussion panel, saving the best till last. And to facilitate that, I welcome Robin back to the stage. So she has the job of wrangling these guys. Good luck, Robin. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Slido on my phone, is that the drill? Right, welcome back to the best being kept till last. And please, throw the questions into Slido for the farmer panel. And remember, farmer panel, there is sort of no rules, but if you don't want to answer the question, then you can phone a friend, i.e. pass the microphone to the next person. I would like to start by introducing our farmer panel. Andrew Darling, sitting in the second from the end. Put your hand up, Andrew. Andrew is a fourth generation arable farmer. From where, Andrew, and how big is your farm?
Hello, yes. So Timaru, just on the south boundary of Timaru, as you're heading out, on State Highway 1, so everyone seems to know where I am. I get Snapchats of what I've got wrong from drilling problems and GPS not going right.
Thanks, Andrew. Henry Douglas, Te Anau Basin, farm with your wife and parents, sheep and beef, correct? Where in the Te Anau Basin do we find you?
Yeah, that's correct. The Modi Te Anau Basin. It is part of Southland, but it's tucked up in its own wee corner, obviously. Yeah, proud Southlander myself, but yeah, farming up there, 900 hectares, 80 hectares of sheep and beef, and proud Hereford man as well, with the Hereford stud on the farm.
So we won't go into a conversation about the future of the beef cow this afternoon then?
Well, there's been awesome stuff for all the beef cows today, so I think, yeah, bring it on.
Excellent. Emma Crutchley, sitting to Henry's right. Welcome, Emma. Farm with your husband, Kyle, and the Maniatoto.
Yeah, I probably just want to point out for a start, we're actually stud Angus breeders.
Excellent.
Sheep, beef, arable, Maniatoto, family, farm with my husband and family, and yeah, finishing...
Energy.
Yeah, and a bit of solar, yeah.
Thanks, Emma. And to Emma's right, Michelle Wallace. Great to have you on a panel again, Michelle. You're the General Manager at Royalburn, perhaps the most diverse farming enterprise on the stage today. Tell us a little about where Royalburn is and what you're running.
So Royalburn is on the Crown Terrace at 650 metres above sea level, so a pretty extreme place to farm, 450 hectares. We've got 5,000 chickens. We finish about 7,500 to 10,000 lambs a year through our property, and we've also got arable and on-farm abattoir, butchery, and all of our own distribution.
Thank you. And we did have to let one North Islander in, but he's really special. At this end, closest to me, Matt Hocken, arable farmer. Let me start again. Dairy farmer from the Manawatu.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so we farm just out of Palmerston North, so in the Manawatu, or Fielding actually. We've got 1,000 dairy cows there. We've just bought another farm. We're going to take over into May, which will be another 1,000 cows. We do a bit of beef. We're launching an agri-tourism business. My wife Yana does the lean. I think there's some Lean Farm Club members out there. So I've got a book here, free book for the best questions. So load up your questions. And also co-founder of the Rural Innovation Lab, which is a network of farmers up there that helps review different technology and things for farmers, and also works with companies to help them develop their own products and services.
And I would acknowledge a fantastic supporter of science as well, Matt, through your Rural Lab. So we've heard a lot about the opportunities from tech today. Those opportunities only turn into value in the hands of farmers, right? And I know that Andrew started his career as a John Deere mechanic. And let's face it, Andrew, they do the best videos, don't they? Okay, tell us how many John Deere tractors you've got on your farm, Andrew.
I got a lawnmower.
Got any kids' toys?
Yeah, they're good at merch. Yep.
But you have got some of their tech, right?
Yeah, so all of our equipment's running the John Deere guidance systems and all through the Isopus, so everything kept online with John Deere Starfire system. So the way I've looked at it is using cheaper tractors. I can't afford the new best top-of-the-line tractors, but I can upgrade the guidance systems on there and retrofit to cheaper equipment and spend my money on the bit of a gear on the back, so newer fert spreaders or drilling equipment and sprayers. I see that's where the better investment's going than having a vibrating seat that massages me as we drive along or keep me warm.
Oh, I don't know, I'm quite partial to the heated seat. Right, this is going to be quick fire. Starting with you, Michelle, what's the one piece of tech that's your favourite right now and why?
Ooh, I just discovered the AI on Spotify.
Excellent, thank you. Emma?
I've got an app on my phone which tells me how much solar I'm generating and when to turn my dishwasher on.
And I've got one of those too, and it has me running around the house turning things off. Yeah. Henry?
I've got to be a little bit biased with one of the co-founders of Resolution app. Clearly best part of tech on my farm.
ChatGPT, got a chair for the kids preschool and got a board report coming up. I'm not very good at writing the fluff, and it's very good at doing it. So.
ChatGPT for writing fluff, we'll remember that one. Matt?
Yeah, we're getting great results with Halter, both on our existing farm. We're going to put it on the new one as well, so we're loving what they're doing.
Fantastic. Look, I wanted to kick in, perhaps starting with you, Matt, and the lean principles. I want you to talk a little, just very quickly, about what that does for a team and how beneficial that is in the uptake of technology.
Yeah, so if you're not aware of Lean, it's a system, management system that came out of Toyota, but it's been applied to businesses and industries, and Janus sort of brought it into agriculture. And really it looks at your end-to-end process, or there's a number of parts to it, but helps you identify where you're creating value, where there's waste in your businesses which you can take out, and that might be moving waste, it might be product waste, it might be time, all of these sort of things. And we found some of the biggest wins in our business have actually been taking out those wastes and creating things. So it's the mindset is continuous improvement. So, and it's a pursuit of perfection. So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it and keep going. We've used it with the application of technology to look at our business process and see where we can get the biggest gains by applying technology to them. And that, I think, just getting that clarity before you're adopting technology about where you should be really spending your money, your time, has been good for us. And yeah, we're sort of trying to share some of that with other people through the Lean project.
Michelle, you are leading a large team. How do you bring the team on that tech journey?
We use WhatsApp as our main communication. And I've found it, we tried a few different things, but WhatsApp, we always come back to it because it's a really easy way to communicate, and we have a community for the farm. So I'm probably, myself, Carlos and Nadia, we're all in all of the groups, so we probably get a little bit overrun by information, but it means that you can keep channeled sort of communication to where it needs to be. But if everyone needs to know something, you can quickly let everyone know. So, yeah.
I'm going to come back to you in a moment because we've all watched Nadia's farm, some of us at least. So I want you to come back and reflect on some tech that didn't deliver and why. But coming to you, Henry, you built your own. What was the motivation? It's got to be the hardest way to go, because at least if it's someone else's, you can complain about it. But why build your own?
Why build your own? You look back now and go, yeah, why build your own? It's an interesting journey, but it's a really exciting journey. So the reason we built our own was that we actually went to market. We had a problem ourselves where we were trying to share, Paul, the co-founder of Resolution in the Te Anau Basin, we were trying to share information, soil information. and we couldn't do it easily. Like, he had it all in his folders in his office, which was no good to me to know what was happening on my farm. So we're like, well, we need to be able to share this data. So the simplest thing was, let's go to market and see if we can find something that would work for us. We're quite simple sort of people, and it had to be really basic. You know, we needed to be able to go, hey, I want to be able to click on a paddock, I want to know what happened in it. So that was the reason why we couldn't find anything out at the time when we started the journey. So why not build your own and you know, start from that simplest way and build up from there.
Matt, how difficult is it to find the tech that you want?
Yeah, the Rural Innovation Lab, we get a lot of calls and contacts from people saying, what is the best sensor, what is the best collar, what is the best drone, whatever. And yeah, look, that's a good question. And I think, you know, there's a number of different things you look at there. Does it do the job? You know, is it cost effective? Is it well supported? Is there good training? What are the parts I need? All of these kind of things. And I think that's almost, you know, the technology out there, that's table stakes now, and not all of them deliver it, but you need to be able to convince yourself that that's the case. But probably the next question that we're finding is that we sort of play back after that question is, well, what do you want to achieve? What are your values and goals in your farming business? Because each farming business can be quite different. And what are the problems and what are the values? What's the costs you want to take out or the quality you want to increase? And then look at the technology that's out there that's going to help you achieve those things, and then set some targets around it. And where we find the technology adoption falling down, or people coming to us saying, look, we've got this great technology, it's not doing it for us, it's because they've said, oh look, we gave it to the team and said, look, have a try, or the contract milker wasn't really interested. So there's actually a capability build, I think, and an awareness of how do we actually adopt this technology as much as anything.
So, Emma, you've got the microphone. It's easy for Matt because he's just a dairy farmer. You're balancing multiple enterprises. So is it harder for you to find something? Well, one, he's got the advantage that dairying like arable can import from Europe. Your sheep and beef, where do you import the tech from? Is there enough tech options for you, or have those other sectors got it easier?
Where I go with that one is, there's a quote, there is multiple solutions to an individual challenge, and multiple challenges can be solved with an individual solution. And what I mean by that is, like, every single farm, whether it be sheep, beef, dairy, arable, across New Zealand, diverse situations, will have different options in the tech space. And I think there's a responsibility for us to identify the problem and shoot that back up. But I also think when you're looking for a solution, and our favourite one, is mentioned at the start, is the one that we've done this year, is solar. We actually looked at it because we're looking at the different parts of our system where we can actually make a buck. And one of that, at the moment, for most sheep and beef farmers, this will resonate, is the fixed costs that we have. And one of ours is a large irrigated sheep and beef farm, is the fact that a big fixed cost is actually electricity. And so an example of the multiple benefits is the fact that the guy that sold us the solar actually came back and he said, Emma, can you tell me how much, how you're reducing your emissions per kg of meat you produce? And I said, I actually don't give a toss. All I want to do is cut my costs. But that's another benefit that you could gain. And also another benefit is the story around it, but another benefit from it is actually not only the cost, it's the fact that you're creating resilience within your business, and that's really important. So I think I would probably leave the land use out of it, and it's just a personal responsibility to say, hey, actually, there are some tweaks I can make within my farming business. What problem do I have that needs solved? And in the end, you'll find that there is a lot of solutions that come from solving one problem.
And so, Henry, do you think that was a strength in setting up Resolution? You knew the problem you were trying to solve?
Yeah, definitely, and to introduce the tech, like for us, you know, with the family farm that I'm on, with my father that's a bit older and sister coming into it as well, the notebook actually, we've gone the other way, and the notebook didn't work because we didn't know what was happening. We've bought bits of land over the years and we didn't know what was happening on one corner, recording of the stud, so we actually needed to solve a problem, and that was actually to start bringing some of this tech into it so we can all communicate in that one spot. So,
Right, Michelle. Lead us off on a tech that you tried that didn't deliver what you expected.
So I think there's a few things. We tried to get something that would do it all for us, because we maybe a little bit naively thought that there was something out there that was going to cover everything that Royal Burn was ever going to do, and that was 100% not the case. And so I think what it did was just create a lot of additional work, actually. So you're paying quite a high fee for this technology that's supposed to help you, and then it can't do some of the really basic things that then you have to manually do. So yeah, that's been one of the things. Printers are our enemy. My one in my office is a nightmare. It always bings at me and I never know how to fix it. And the printer in the abattoir, actually, it cracks me up. It continuously needs to be changed, and I go in there and there's 3 men with a video out every time telling them how to change the coil or the spoil or whatever it's called.
I am really impressed that you've employing blokes that read the instructions. Or they don't read the instructions, they found YouTube, right?
Robin, it's not, well, last time, no, it's just not repairable. You're going to have to get the technician in. And so I went and saw one of the younger team members and I said, would you mind having a look at it? And he went and he said, I've done everything they've told me. I've talked to them over the phone. I can't fix it. So then I had a crack and they had the labels upside down.
Well, that'll do it. Matt, we've talked about having the problems and knowing where to fix them. You've got the rural lab. Like, as one of the problems for New Zealand is our farms are diverse, even dairy farms. They're diverse and they're complex. And it's hard to find the complete solution, and yet for time-poor people, that's what you need. Is that part of our tension?
Yeah, it is. And I've had the same experience, actually. You try and find something that does it all, and it ends up doing the 3rd or 4th best out of all the products or services that are on the market. And you've got to go for the top 1 or 2 to do it. So you split it up again and you get the best out there and you get the best result. It's like having the best advisors. You don't go out and get the 3rd or 4th best advisor, do you? You get the best one you can find, really, and that makes a huge difference to your business. So, yeah, so I think we're still back at that stage. You've got your chat bots. That was a really interesting session, wasn't it? And how we bring that together, because we've got a lot of data. So a lot of data points in our business, and we're bringing them back and into Excel and things like that. So, we're taking them out of some nice software, bringing them back to something that works for us. We've got good visual management around target and actuals, but that works for us. But how do we make that much more simplified? And as we grow, how can we bring that across the business?
Michelle, I'm going to come to you in a minute around Royal Burn and the brand that you're building and what that means for proof of provenance, etc. Emma, intergenerational farm, large scale, small number of staff. Dave Chapman put a pretty big challenge out to us about where we are around pastures. You talk about doing the basics well. How's tech going to help you and Kyle to get the kids to want to come back farming as you move through the seasons, through the years, and intergenerational? Where's tech going to help you into the future?
100%. I look at, we're all on a different tech journey, and I've been sitting out there in the audience today going, man, I'm not doing anything. I need a drone. I need proof of placement. I need all this stuff, but it's just the fact of taking little bites off the elephant in a way, like the low-hanging fruit, that's been mentioned a few times as well. And so I think tech, I've got a 10-year-old who's right into tech, and I was thinking, man, I just need to get the kid a drone and he can go around all the sheep on the farm from the lounge. And I don't know why I haven't done it yet, because it seems like a really obvious thing to do. But I think you're right. Like, we have a labour shortage in our sector. We have people that don't want to work in our sector because the hours are long, it's hard. And so it's about finding solutions to that challenge. And I agree. The other end of it is, I think, and Henry's touched on it, is the fact that it's trying, in a family business, you've got multiple generations, and it's trying to find a way to bring everybody on the tech journey. And So it's about socialising that early and then allowing time for people to actually see the benefits in it and then move over time. And so I think we can get kids interested in the farm, but it's going to look very different from what we're doing now. So
Andrew, do you have any advice to Emma on taking the generations on the journey with tech?
Yeah, I'm not sure I answered this question properly, but that's the thing. So all of our nitrogen, phosphate, potassium and pH, that's done by contract, but everything else we apply ourselves and it's done variably. So hectare grid samples. Dad does all the spreading, and at the end of every spreading season, by the time he gets the last paddock, he's remembered how to do it. And so start next year, we start all over again. But
So can we just pause for a minute? So your father, Warren, he would have started managing at a paddock scale. You are now doing per hectare soil sampling and applying at that much finer scale.
Yep.
So he just takes a little bit, but isn't the fault then yours? Because, Matt, he hasn't written the standard operating procedure for Warren, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think, just quickly though, I think we get confused with viewable rate too. Like, he was doing viewable rate before I was. You know, he would have a back face and he would go and pump the seeding rate up by a bit, or either slow, or when it was a manual drive fertiliser spreader and you want a bit more, you'd slow down, you know. Viewable rate, it was happening in his generation. Now we're just doing it, we're preloading it all, so we've got to be careful of our terminology.
Nice.
And, but it was really his idea. But I think part of the generational thing, or wanting to do some of this stuff, if you think you're going to do it in 5 years, 10 years' time, like Warren said, I want to do this with viewable rate. We've done all these soil tests. We looked at them for a few years until we decided what we were going to do in the first paddock. And I said, well, you need to buy this GPS system. And I said, you can buy the cheap one to do manual auto steer. It was $2,500, but really you need the one that's 8.5 so we can load maps. I'm not spending that much money. And I was like, well, you know, otherwise you're going to depreciate of that, and you know, it's such a big gap again. So it's setting these things up to know where you want to be, to spend a bit more now, so you can if you want to do it.
So you did spend 8.
Yes, we did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Emma.
I'm just going to jump in quickly and say I think we can get a little bit complacent by saying our older generations are slow to adopt tech, and I don't think it's true. Like, my dad's been driving around on an Ubco bike for the past 10 years, so he's way ahead of us.
Michelle, Royal Burners is really strong in building a brand. Does that mean that the kind of tech that David Lamb talked about this morning, you're going to be some of the leaders in having that available to your customers?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that we have been it feels like the first in a lot of things. And I was looking at that going, gosh, I can't wait till we can connect all the dots. Like,
Nice.
yeah, I want that technology. You know, a lot of my job would probably get a lot easier if I was able to use that technology. Yeah, I think, I wouldn't put it past us. And in fact, it was a passing conversation the other day. We've got an event space, and our lovely Maggie that manages that said, gosh, it's such a pain in the ass that I'm constantly on call. Like, you know, I have to be available 7 days a week, you know, and answer these phone calls. And I just sort of casually said to Carlos, we should get a chatbot for that. I know nothing about chatbots. I know more today.
Well, I know someone looking for a job.
I know. And then I walked into a meeting yesterday and Carlos goes, well, I've sorted that chatbot. I was like, okay, great. That's good. So, you know, it's a little bit, Royal Burners quite fast moving. So, you know, it's kind of like, could we try that? Yeah, let's try it, you know. And we're also, we do fail a lot. So, yeah.
So you're not scared of failure?
Oh, no, I'm petrified of failure. Yeah. Just, you know, you do learn some pretty good lessons pretty quickly. Like, as long as you're not repeating those failures over and over. Yeah,
I want to
think it's
pick up,
heirloom.
I'm going to come to you, Andrew. Emma, the point you made about the previous generation, let's not assume they're not techie. And there's a lot of very powerful observational, experiential learning and management of land that parents and grandparents have done. One of the things as a scientist that worries me is when the tech turns up in New Zealand and says, we've got the ultimate thing for you, and you're sort of sitting there thinking, has it ever been validated? Andrew, tell us very briefly about the guys sitting in Germany validating their header as it went over the hills of South Canterbury.
Yeah, so that we had multiple test teams at home, but that was on some class combine, and this wanted some good standing all said rope, good heavy crop, and it was the CMOS side of it to learn how it reacts to going up and over hills and getting a better grain sample and losing losses, and how it adapts from change of angles and reading the crop density. And basically the machine was taking over itself. 2 guys watching in the cab, and then 6 guys back in Germany watching it all at the same time from 30 cameras around the machine and getting all the data. And I was talking to one of the guys operating the machine, and he said that they could see something happen, they could change it, and they were about to say to the guys in Germany, I should make some software like this. And they said, oh, hold on, stop the machine. We've just made some new software. We're going to send it to it. They did it in the paddock 15 minutes later, and they're trying something again. But sorry to get way late on this, but he's also talking about that, like the AI of that machine. Like after it'd been working in that paddock for the day, or if it had done 2 seasons of work, it's smarter it was than when it came out of the factory. And they're working out how to share that machine learning to new ones coming off the factory line, that they know when they're working on this hill slope and they've got this sort of crop coming through in these conditions, this is how to set the machine, and it happens a lot faster. So it's all part of the machine learning and integrating it together.
That's the power, isn't it? I was thinking, talking with Andrew last night about having my first experience, having come from mid-Canterbury where the header's on the flat all the time, of South Canterbury. When I was in New Orleans, the farmers were hiring out the jockey seat and their header to bird watchers who were paying like $800 a day. So why don't you hire out the jockey seat and your header for people who want to experience a helicopter without getting off the ground? Because it's a little what it's like, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
You could do the same, couldn't you?
I think there's tourism. We've had 4 million sunflower plants at home too, with the ocean in the background. And,
Well, there you go.
yeah, I've
there
missed
you go.
opportunities.
Right, we're going to go on to some quick fire questions from the audience. Where shall we start? Question for Matt. What's made the investment in Halter worthwhile? And a follow-up question. I'm a farmer looking into Halter. What advice would you give me?
Okay, yeah, so Halter's we've had it for 2 years. The first year we increased our pasture harvest by 12%, and we've still got a month to go in this season, but it looks like we'll do another 9%. So, you know, that's sort of another 450 tonnes of kgs dry matter landed inside the farm, which, you know, in a crude measure, that's 30 truckloads, unit loads of PKE turned up. But the way we looked at it is we targeted pasture harvest was the big one for us. Also labour efficiency as well, and going back to the lean principles, we see people driving behind herds with motorbikes as a waste of that person's time.
Just jumping in. So you knew in advance what you needed it to do?
Yeah,
You were clear?
Yep.
Right.
So we targeted pasture harvest, labour, and then animal health, and for some reason it just seems to turn up, really reduce your lameness, so we were down to a third of lameness.
So your advice is know what it is you want it to do,
Yep.
and ensure you can do that. Henry, easy question for you. When will chatbot be available in resolution?
Yeah, it's obviously been the talking point of today, and all I would like to say that if you're a tech company, you're not looking at AI, you're already behind. So yes, resolution, definitely looking at the AI space. Yeah, very exciting space for, you know, I think some people, you know, we're a bit scared of what AI can do and replacing people in that, but, you know, for lots of us, and especially in the resolution game, we can really see it empowering the, you know, from the data that we're putting in, what we can actually get out of our data. It's really, really exciting. So, yeah, we'll be into it.
Okay,
I had a question for Henry.
go.
Are you going to have your dulcet tones as the background for the AI chatbot? So we can. I'd probably sign up just to.
If that makes you sign up, Andrew, we're onto it. Yeah.
How do you figure out, this is a question for all of you, and I want one quick response from each of you to start with. The nice to have versus the need to have. Starting with Matt.
Just go back to looking at your end-to-end process. Where's the value? Where's the cost? Where you can take out, and focus on your highest priority thing. Go for that first. That's going to deliver the greatest value to you.
So is that where lean is really important to informing your decision making?
Yep, it
How are we
helps
going on
you
selling
analyse your business.
How are we going on selling the book here?
Well, look, there's lots of different tools. That's one.
Yep.
But I think you probably have a good sense of your businesses, but get some external support to do it, and that's wherever your biggest gain is, that's where you should apply it.
Andrew, as an arable farmer, you could spend millions on technology. Nice to have, need to have.
yeah, it's got to stack up on the spreadsheet first. That
Right.
just straight, like just putting temperature probes in the silo. By doing that, I found out that I was running the fan too much to cool the grain after it'd been dried. So the probes themselves paid for themselves in under 2 years power saving alone.
And what did the probes cost up front?
I think it was $1,800 a silo.
So you kind of held your breath that that's a lot of money per silo.
Well, so yeah, that's probably one thing I should touch on too. Same with some of the nitrogen testing stuff too. It's probably because you're sort of ahead of the curve maybe a wee bit that people want to try things, and so I'm not buying it till approved it, you know, sort of thing too. So yeah,
So are you an early adopter with some things?
possibly yes, yeah, yeah.
Henry, nice to have, need to have. We all need a resolution. Goes without saying.
Yeah, this question is probably more along the line of, you know, these couple of tough years we've had. It's really put in perspective of actually what is nice and what is a need, because like we all had to pull back, and there was a lot of stuff that we probably, you know, we just had to shut our gate really, and we felt for a few other people outside. It's now, you know, with obviously prices up a wee bit again, it's actually now to go, right, you know, these things, we have to keep moving.
Yep.
So, you know, I think it's really, that has helped me as a farmer to actually understand where we need to.
Emma,
and what
building
we
on
spend.
that, several tough years. So solar fits that nicely, doesn't it? An investment in lowering your costs. Nice to have, need to have. What's your advice?
Cost benefit, multiple benefits gained, and long-term benefit.
Michelle?
We constantly have this nice to have thing at the farm. And I was just thinking that quite often what we do is we weigh up the labour hours that will be saved by something that we bring in, because obviously their biggest cost is labour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Michelle, is there another season of Nadia's Farm coming? That is a question.
Oh, no, sorry.
Perhaps
But
it'll be Michelle's farm next time.
no. But there is a Nadia's Farm kitchen, so if you enjoyed Nadia's cooking, there's definitely one of those happening.
Andrew, what is the minimal starting... hang on, sorry. Andrew, what is the minimal starting point to invest in fertiliser spreading tech, conversion of existing equipment? Not quite sure I understand. Hang on, I'm going to follow that up. Perhaps I'll start with this one first. Andrew, why is variable rate fertiliser less used in dairy? Are we missing the opportunity?
Yep. I can't, like, to be honest, I can't really speak for a dairy farm, but for our variable rate, we're an old stock farm with, you know, 5 acre paddocks, the whole lot of fences taken out with tree lines and everything else, now to 35, 40 hectare plus paddocks. And we could see from the variable rate testing, we know where some old stock camps were. An old dairy platform going way, way, way back to great granddad's time. Since we did that first testing in, I think, 2013, we haven't put any P or K in that area of that old dairy platform. It's so high in phosphate and potassium that we don't need to apply there. So our overall spend for P and K hasn't really reduced, but we're putting in areas required and getting a better yield.
Better response.
Yeah, better
Yep.
response. And the biggest one's pH. pH by far is the biggest.
Now, let's try and tackle this one. What's the minimal starting point to invest in spreading tech conversion of existing equipment?
Probably, once again, it probably depends on scale. When we're 500 hectares of arable, I make the justification on a $60,000 spreader that's replaced every 3 to 4 years, but replacing what it's worth something, and then a $20,000 end sensor. We're getting the returns on that by reducing some of the N and increasing our yield, having a better standing crop, doing some recording that we can then go and do variable rate seeding and fungicide and growth regs from what we're seeing from recording the crop while we're applying in. But also, some of the apps now, it's free from Yara App Farm. It does a satellite imagery. You can bring it up on your phone. So once you've done it on your computer, worked out where your zones are that you want to apply nitrogen at different amounts, you can bring it up on your phone on a fixed rate spreader, tell you you're doing 100 kilos to the hectare of urea, and it will tell you to speed up and slow down just by using a free phone app on an old spreader that's just fixed. So yeah, it can be entered with simple equipment. Sorry.
And go up the hill in Timaru and turn left, you'll find Andrew's yard and he'll show you how to do it.
Yep, no worries.
Excellent, thanks Andrew. How did you decide where to start on your venture into technology? Oh no, and do you worry about the capital investments? I think we've sort of covered that one. What's next in the technology space for your business, Matt? What's next?
Lots to think about today.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. I've sort of dabbled a little bit in the chatbot thing, but I can just see, you know, data. We're using data now. We're going to be using data more in the future. We really need to get our heads around this and see how we can get more value out of that data and potentially some of the things that David spoke about.
Isn't that going to be about employing the right people? And you've employed
Yes.
the person? Do you reckon you've got the right one?
So we've recruited 4 people for the new farm, and one of them has zero sort of farming background, but Bachelor of Science, and we is going to be tasked with our data. So it's going to be really exciting to see what she can do.
Andrew, the next tech in your business?
Profit per pixel.
Profit per pixel?
So we're down to like metre squared of information that we've got from 15 years of yield maps. We've got satellite imagery. We've got data everywhere. Bringing it all together, looking at zones. That
So
aren't making
another
money.
crack at the Bali Guinness World Record coming up in the next 5
No.
years.
I think we just
No?
consolidate a bit and look at it. You know, just gross margin is more important to me than
And-
overall yield.
That's what, you know, I think pointing to you pastoral farmers, the challenge that David Chapman's given us today. How are we going to lift our game? Emma?
There's a quote branded around in New Zealand that we are the best and the most efficient in the world. I think probably the most positive thing we could do is ditch that and look at the problem, which is that flat line, and think about how we're going to solve it.
Nice. Michelle? Michelle, a new printer? Sorry? A new printer? Next technology?
We're actually just about to do a full bring in a new system for our butchery, and that's going to be able to basically track everything, scan it in, you scan it out. And I mean, it sounds bloody amazing. I'm quietly shitting myself about that because, you know, I just don't know if anything is ever easy. So I think,
What
yeah.
spun your wheels out of today?
Lots of things. I'm just excited about the future of things for farming. There's been a lot of talk about, and we've all got the same problems when it comes to lots of data and not much cohesiveness. And that's definitely one of our problems as well, you know, and we've got just so much of it. And I feel like we could just do so much more with that data if it all worked together in a really easy fashion. So I think I will keep seeking that out, and I do believe we will get there from a technology standpoint, and I think if there's enough farmers talking about that problem and why it's a problem for us, you know, things will happen.
Emma, what spun your wheels?
Sorry, what's that about today?
About today, what spun your wheels?
A group of positive people talking about solutions. I think that's really important. So often it's easy to get stuck in our own echo chamber and read the media and think that everything's really bad, but to come along today and just talk to a group of positive people who are all thinking about how we solve some of these challenges, I think it's just epic.
Henry?
Yeah, I think the variation in what's out there today too is really, really good. You know, from everything, from different aspects for the beef farmers, for the milk farmers, for the arable guys, that variation is really exciting.
So do you think we're really moving to a point, Henry, that we're going to see more uptake because there's more tech there to solve the problems you've got?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, you don't be afraid of the tech game, and you know, tech's here to, you know, it's not ever going to replace us, but it's there to enhance us. You know, for us, it's future-proofing our businesses, the tech. Like, you know, for me to be able to click back, or for my kids to be able to click back and see what a silly old fool was doing on the farm with this new tech that they're now using is really, really exciting to me. So we need to start and, you know, make the journey somewhere, because there's a lot of people that aren't even really on the tech journey yet. There's still a long way to go.
Andrew?
You know, hours on the tractor last week. Well, I've been thinking about AI and solar panels, two things. So it's good today to get where we can sort of fit into the business and sort of where we can move forward with some of these things. You know, talking before about the profit per pixel, some of these areas are probably, I'm not making money. I know from all this data input, I'm not making money on any of these bits of ground. Is it something to look at solar panels on or something like that instead of arable?
So you've now got the data that's empowering you to make a different decision.
Yeah, informed decisions from the data, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Matt, last word with you.
Oh, the coffee truck was great today. I think kept everybody warm and going. so-
Fail, come on. You
No,
can do better than the coffee truck, Matt.
but, yeah.
And you've got to decide who gets the book too.
Yeah, that's right. So look, I think we're in a great sector. Ag's got amazing people, high level of trust. We live in great environments. It's a very exciting time to be in ag. If you're rich people, you know, whether you're Bill Gates or David Beckham, they go out and buy a farm. We short circuit that. We just go to the farm, forget the rich. But you know, like I think it is a great sector to be in, and you know, just so many ideas. And I agree. Sometimes you can get a bit down with people who aren't on the tech journey, saying, "Oh, why are you doing it?" It's great to be people on the tech journey and just be inspired to just get on with it. So it's been good inspiration today. I don't know. We don't have anybody reaching out because you're so efficient with the app. But does anyone want the book? First hand up. I think this lady here. I'll get your name and I'll sign the book for you.
Look, I would like to thank our panel. They've come from a diversity of backgrounds and represented their sectors incredibly well. It's not easy to sit on the stage, and it's not easy to not know the questions that are coming at you. And so I applaud our panel. The journey that each of them are on with tech, I think there's things that we can all take away and learn from them. And I know they're all willing to talk. And if you don't get a chance to talk to them now, they're easy to find on social media. Just ask a chatbot to find them for you. Thank you very much, team. Could you please join me in thanking the panel? Awesome job.
Awesome, and of course we have to thank Robin, who kindly facilitated our two panel discussions. So we just have a wee gift for you too, Robin. Thank you very much.
Thank you.